that I once knew, there will I go. Please take me there, sweet life of mine. No more will I wander, no more will I roam. Spring is such a beautiful time of the year, yes?
Yes. Yes.
Flowers blooming, warmer weather, more daylight, so much to look forward to. All those ticks and chiggers. Or chicks and tiggers, yeah. I am looking forward to hikes in the woods and kayaking on the rivers and lakes. And we actually started last week. Missy and I went to Magnolia Falls with some friends. Such a beautiful area, just one waterfall after another out there near Boxley. And there are just so many beautiful areas out there. It's just gorgeous. And that's our happy time, that's our happy place, going out and doing things like that. But it's also been a very sad time, too, recently. Good friends have passed away. Some of whom that you know. Hank Kaminsky, world-famous sculptor, passed away recently. He lived just down the street from us, and he's the one that created that incredible peace fountain that's in front of the town center that has the words reflecting peace in, like, I don't know how many, 70 or 100 languages or something like that. And he was a wonderful man, easy to talk to, incredible talent. Missy has so many earrings that he made where she has one of a pair. So now she kind of mixes and matches. And Judith Matthews passed away. And a lot of you knew Judith. She was the administrator here at Unity for a long time. She was the bookkeeper for a long time. And I rented my office space in her house for 10 years. And I lived there for 6 years. And she was a real walk your talk kind of a person, yes?
Yes.
She really was. She was always friendly, real sharp. She would tell you if you needed some comeuppance, which I did from time to time. And she just had this beautiful laugh. And one thing that a lot of people don't know about her was she's an amazing dancer.
Yeah.
She used to compete as a ballroom dancer all over the country. Just absolutely amazing person. I got to hang out with Judith a few times before she passed away. And she still had that glint in her eye that many of you remember, I think, and that warm smile. But she was very clear about one thing. She was ready to go. There was no doubt in her mind. And I wondered at how she was so clear about that. I thought, wow, that is really remarkable. And in addition to Hank and Judith, Missy's mom has been very close to passing recently. She's been in 2 different hospitals this past week. She's had a bunch of tests and procedures, and she's got this big stone somewhere in a duct that they can't get to break it down. And she's had all kinds of infections, and that's where Missy is right now. And all of this has made me think a lot about death recently. And death looks like a lot of different things. I was talking to somebody about Missy's niece who lives in West Little Rock early this morning. And Missy's niece, there was a big tree that was uprooted by the tornado and then just totally destroyed her house just a couple days ago. And fortunately, her niece and her dog got out, and they're safe and they're fine. But this person I was talking to said, you know, that's kind of like a death. Losing your house, you know, losing a pet, right? There's so much. And I wanted to know, what exactly is death? What is it? So I decided to consult the wisdom of the ages to get a better picture. And I've always been fascinated by near-death experiences. And I've talked about that in the past sometimes. I've loved reading books like Life After Life by Raymond Moody and so many others that he wrote, and lots of other interesting people, interesting writers. And I love reading their stories, these people, because they had a glimpse of what it's like to die and then come back. And they could see what's on the other side. And there was a reason why they come back. Maybe someone had something that they had to do or finish. But a lot of times the reason was because they felt this incredible urge to tell people about what they saw while they were on the other side. And near-death experiences can vary widely from one person to the next. But there are some common experiences that I've seen after reading hundreds of these stories. There are some things you see over and over again. Many report having an out-of-body experience, feeling as though they left their physical body and they're floating above it, and they're watching the doctors work on them and watching their loved ones either there or in the waiting area, that sort of thing. And sometimes, despite the sometimes chaotic circumstances of the moment, many people report feeling this overwhelming sense of calmness and peace. A bright light is often described as being at the end of the tunnel, and it's drawing them closer. And sometimes they see a deity in this light. They see Jesus, or they see Moses, or Krishna, or whoever it is that they pray to. Many people report seeing family members when they get over on the other side. And these family members are there giving them encouragement and exuding peace and love. Some people report seeing a full review of their life, like in a moment's time, where they see their entire life flash before their eyes very quickly. Or like Greg Tamblyn says in his song, "I saw my ex-wife flash right before my eyes." I can't remember what song that was. Many people report knowing that they're dead while still feeling alive in some way, and having the option to come back. And many people report feeling as though time has just stopped, just completely stopped and slowed down during their near-death experience. So maybe death is like an LSD trip. Out-of-body experience, timelessness. Oh, maybe seeing bright lights. Now, not that I have any idea of what that's like. I'm having an out-of-body experience right now. But I still wanted to know more about death, about, from people that were wiser than me. And I saw that the Roman Emperor Marcus Aurelius said, "Death is not the end of life. It is the beginning of eternity." And I had to think about that. And Khalil Gibran said, "Death is not the end. It's the beginning of a new journey." And the poet-philosopher Rabindranath Tagore said that death is not extinguishing the light, it's only putting out the lamp because the dawn has come. And the Indian philosopher Osho said, death is a door. It opens up into a new world. So maybe death is like a video game. You die and you come back to life. Again and again and again. And you open the door and there's a new journey. You video gamers know what I'm talking about. Maybe us non-video gamers need to practice up a little bit to get ready, perhaps. Benjamin Franklin said the best way to prepare for death is to live well. The humorist Evan Issar said, we can't control the length of our life, but we can control its width and its depth. Very profound. The politician and diplomat Adlai Stevenson said, it's not the years in your life that counts, but the life in your years that counts. So maybe death is like the latest TV zombie show. If you live well, you get to have another episode. And another one. And another one. And if you don't, you wind up in a Game of Thrones. Where everybody dies. Right? Not that I've ever seen that. I've often wondered why are these shows so popular with all these zombies walking around? Maybe that's it. Maybe. But if that's what death is, I'm not in it. Cut me out. Personally, I intend to live forever. So far, so good. I borrowed that from Stephen Wright, in case you know. After years of reading about hundreds of near-death experiences and learning from the wisdom of great beings about the meaning of death, I see death now as another transition in life. A time to leave one body and one life adventure and move into another adventure. And this kind of attitude or perception has served me well because I've had the experience and the honor of being with a lot of people in the last days of their life. And I'm very thankful that I was able to fully be with them in this moment of their life. But sometimes when I'm by myself, I just feel sad. Just overwhelmingly sad. With Judith, I've shared a living room, a kitchen, and office area with her for 10 years. It was so sad to see her go. And yet, it's such a joy that she doesn't have to carry this diseased body around anymore. And that she can move freely into her next adventure. So I feel both sadness and joy for her. In Unity, we talk a lot about positive thinking. We don't talk much about being sad. So my question to you is it okay to be sad?
Yes.
Is it really okay to be sad?
Yes.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Don't dwell on it.
Okay. Well, so if it's okay with you, I'm just going to be sad for a little while. And Annette's going to help me in this feeling of sadness.
We grieve in community.
Say that again.
We grieve in community.
We grieve in community. Well, I'm sad, so sad, and I'm tired, so tired. Well, I'm hungry, so hungry. There's a hole in my soul, and it swallows me up, pulls me into the darkness. There's a hole in the center of me. There's a hole in the center of me. It's okay to be sad. Well, I've never been one to sing about my troubles. I figured most of the world has enough of their own. But now and then I think that when we sing about out our truth. Maybe we light up a pathway for somebody else. And I'm sad, so sad, and I'm tired, so tired. Well, I'm hungry, so hungry. There's a hole in my soul that swallows me up, pulls me into the darkness. There's a hole in the center of me. There's a hole in the center of me. Sometimes I wonder, when the whole world is quiet, when there's nothing to hear but the sound of my breath, why there's so many people with so many hurts, and none of us really knows quite how to help. And I'm sad, so sad, and I'm tired, so tired. Well, I'm hungry, so hungry. There's a hole in my soul, and it swallows me up, pulls me into the darkness. There's a hole in the center of me. There's a hole in the center of me. There's a hole in the center of me. There's a hole in the center of me sometimes. The bottom line is that it is okay to experience sadness and to feel it. And it's okay to let it go. Carolyn May says we should give ourselves a certain amount of time to grieve and get help if necessary, to allow those feelings to come up and out, and then to make the conscious choice to move on beyond those feelings. To not let the sadness take over you. To see the sadness as something outside you, separate from you, but not as you. Just something that you're experiencing for a time. And maybe it comes back in waves. And you let it come up and you let it out. That's the essence of real forgiveness. Letting go of anything unlike love and anything that does not serve you in this current adventure that you're in. This current dance that you are dancing. But that's all well and good, you might ask, but how can we prepare for death? Buddhist teacher Pema Chodron said, the best way to prepare for death is to live life fully. The best way to prepare for death is to live life fully. I could get behind that. How about you? But what does it mean to live life fully? In Glenda Green's book, Love Without End, she discusses these things with Jesus, who says that what we should do is follow life in the living. Jesus says specifically, don't follow the dead and the dying. The whole universe is built around a priority for life in the living. Well, what does that mean? Does it mean we should just forget about the people that have passed? No, that's not what he's talking about. He said that by focusing on life in the living, he meant for us to not spend our time on ways of life, on structures, on ideas, concepts, businesses, which are becoming ineffective and obsolete in your life. Instead, he said we should look for new alignments, new opportunities, new understandings that refresh your life on a daily basis. This is what he meant when he said a long time ago, let the dead bury the dead. Remember that? As we follow life in the living, in whatever way it looks like in your life, and my life, rather than looking backward, our consciousness expands. And as Jesus said, a lot of people are unnecessarily suffering and hurting in life because they're struggling to preserve the dead and the dying instead of following the life of the living. And this includes dead and dying attitudes, dead and dying businesses, relationships, structures, situations, ways of life. So let's take a moment to reflect on this. What in your life is obsolete? What in your life is of the dead and the dying? It's time to let that go. Just close your eyes for a few minutes and think about that. Take a deep breath. What in your life is obsolete? Is not feeding you? Is not giving you nourishment? Giving you joy, giving you peace, giving you calm? Is it a job? Is it a friend or a relative that saps your energy? Maybe a belief system that doesn't serve you anymore? Something that you thought was true for a long time? Maybe a relationship that's not life-giving to you anymore. By the way, if that person is here in the room, don't look at them right now. I don't want to open up a can of worms right here in church. But think about what that is. What's that thing that no longer serves you in life? And what would be the first step in letting go of that? The very first thing. Maybe it's picking up a phone. Maybe it's, I don't know what. What is that first step to let that go? The truth is that most of us have things in our lives that are like the dead and the dying. Shows up as old fears, old patterns that don't serve you anymore. Breathe into life and the living. What in your life totally personifies life and the living? What is it? What's that thing or that person or that pet or whatever it is that in your life just fills you with life, just feeds you like oxygen? What is that? And how can you give that more of your time and your attention? How can you nourish that which nourishes you? And take another deep breath and come back to this space and time. It's okay to be sad, and it's okay to process your feelings, and then it's okay to choose to focus on life and the living, whatever that is in your life. You can do that even when you're with a person who's in their last days. You can be and personify the life and the living while being with a person, or even while thinking of somebody that has passed. You can be that life and the living. Even if it makes you a little sad. My favorite near-death experience, and one I've talked about here before, is that of Anita Morjani. who wrote the book Dying to Be Me, about her near-death experience. I go back and read her story again and again and again because it really touches me. Her words seem to come right from source. And because they provide a profound glimpse of what's on the other side. And I need to be reminded of that from time to time. And this is what she said when she died. Now, if you don't mind, I'll quote from her book a little bit. "I was engulfed in a total feeling of love. The clarity and understanding I obtained in this state is almost indescribable. I was at a place where I understood how much more there is than what we're able to conceive in our three-dimensional world. I realized what a gift life is, and that I am surrounded by loving spiritual beings all the time. They're always around me, even when I don't know it, just as they are always around you. The amount of love I felt was overwhelming, and from this perspective I knew how powerful I am. And I saw the amazing possibilities as we humans are capable of achieving in a physical life. I found that my purpose now would be to live heaven on earth." What would that be like for you, to live heaven on earth? And I used this understanding, and I realized that now my purpose was to share this with other people. I felt tremendous love, more than anything I've ever experienced. I felt that no matter what, I would still be loved. No matter what I did, I didn't have to do anything to deserve it or to be worthy of it. I didn't have to do anything to deserve it or be worthy of it. And there is no heaven or hell, as we've been taught. I realized that we create our own heaven and our own hell here on earth. And I learned that the key ingredients for creating my own heaven on earth were clear. I learned that the universe is only a reflection of me. A lot of us are very negative toward ourselves. We're our own worst enemies. The first thing I would say is to stop judging yourself. Stop beating yourself up for where you are in your life right now. If you can love yourself and not judge yourself and see your own perfection, then you will only attract to you everything that confirms that belief about yourself. It's actually very simple. When you realize your own magnificence, you will only attract magnificence to your life. Being love means loving yourself unconditionally so that it overflows, so that anyone and everyone around you just becomes an automatic recipient of that love. And you don't need people to behave in a certain way. I'm still learning that one. They are automatically getting your love as a result of you loving yourself. I am talking about your mental dialogue to yourself. What are you telling yourself day in and day out inside your head? It's so important not to have judgment and fear in your own mental dialogues to yourself. When your inner dialogue is telling you that you're safe, unconditionally loved, accepted, then you radiate this energy outwards and you change your external world accordingly. The most powerful thing I got from my near-death experience is how loved I am. Unconditionally loved. So now I continue to love myself unconditionally. I would strongly suggest practicing unconditional self-love. I would strongly suggest practicing unconditional self-love. So, let us join together to live life fully, to focus on life and the living, and to, as Marcus Aurelius said, see every step as another step in eternity. Can we do that?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Easily.
And I encourage you to read near-death experiences because it's powerful stuff. It's the closest we have to really what's going on out there. We don't really know. So we're going to sing a song about the mystery of what's out there. It's a Kebmo song called Infinite Eyes.
And to be me, that book was a life changer for me. It was, it just shifted great things for me.
Yeah?
So,
Yeah. I think it has for
I
a
recommend it.
lot of people. Every ray of sunshine, every drop of rain, every time the wind blows, I hear your name. Every time a flower grows or a baby cries, everything that's young and old will live and die. I don't know what's out there, way behind the sun. I got a feeling that we're not the only ones. I can see miracles happening all the time. I can see eternity through infinite eyes, through infinite eyes. I was just thinking, just the other day, about some other universe, not so far away. Maybe I'm an alien from a neighborhood star. Maybe I'll just fly away on a slide guitar. I don't know what's out there, way behind the sun. But I got a feeling that we're not the only ones. I can see miracles happening all the time. I can see eternity through infinite eyes, through infinite eyes, through infinite eyes. Namaste. Thank you. away. And
Take it away.
Thank you. Thank you, John. That was wonderful. That was wonderful. Just like that wonderful into prayer. I love it.
How about it?
focusing on life and the living with Richard.
Thank you. And thank you for sadness, for examining, and for celebration. And this is our prayer time.